What's going on, traders? Hope everybody's having a great evening. It is Wednesday, August 31st, and we'll be doing an analysis of the S&P 500, the Spider ETF, as well as looking at some areas tomorrow where we could engage the market, where we may want to manage our risk, and what to potentially expect coming into the last day of the month. And it will be great to see tomorrow after we close what that monthly candle is going to end up looking like. So far, the weekly candle is looking very strong. So a lot of positive things on the horizon here for the Bulls. It is their game to lose it at this point. But I am not 100% convinced just quite yet. But certainly we will see. Now, does that mean I think that we are going to come back and actually break the swing lows of August? No, not necessarily. You know, we could just come back and retest 444 and then make our move back up, or we could even come back and to retest 440 right here. And even in both those scenarios, we still would be making a higher low, and that would be still bullish as far as the structure is concerned. So even if we came down here and went up, or we came down into here and went up, all still potentially fine. So yeah, I still think that by the end of the year we'll be seeing new all-time highs, and then we'll come up with a plan after that. But we'll see what happens here. Now, let's go into some other charts here. The main thing I want to point out, we really are at this real critical spot for the bulls and the bears. Now we can still pull back. I mean, the markets we drifted higher. We didn't, it was pretty much a chop day, but the markets kind of just drifted higher. They were up about $1.85 today. The final print was just basically at 451. I think we were agreeing 0.41%. So it's a slow drift higher, definitely a slower a day. But I was looking more for an inside day to print. We got an outside bar right now of yesterday's move on Tuesday. So we'll be watching to see if this kind of 448. Today's low 448, and see if this bar actually can hold up here, if this candle can, and then we may press a little bit higher, but I'm still going to be on watch for that potential consolidation, choppy price action that we saw yesterday. Again, it's the month end, so we might see a little bit tricky price action or some interesting price action. But it is not the quarter end yet. So usually that's the last day of a quarter is when you really can see some interesting stuff, particularly during the close. But we're not there yet. But here's this big area, and we've got lots of confluence here. This is kind of the last stand, I think, for the bears. And again, they're really obviously going to have to break this swing low. But any short-term bears that are looking for retracements, me being one of them, this is really our spot. Now, the other thing that we have to mention is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 green days in a row. Can it make it 5? Yes, technically, of course, anything can happen. But statistically speaking, it is very, very unlikely that we see another green day coming into tomorrow. But of course, we will just take it level to level. We'll have our plan and trade off of our plans, we'll just react to that price action. Of course, this is all just speculation, and the biggest thing is just to be prepared each and every day and knowing your levels and then reacting to those levels, right? Okay, so let's see here. I'm showing you guys this big area. Let me show you some other areas of confluence. Now, we were watching this compression pattern as well, of course, as the head and shoulders that we went over in the last video that got denied. But here we are. Look at all the reactions in this area. One right here in the beginning of July, then towards the middle of July, pretty much the end of July, and right at the start of the 10th here of August. So multiple reactions up here in this 451.75, 451. 452, I should say, anywhere in that range, we'll be watching. Because this is really going to be that point where they're going to have to break out of here, or we'll see some rejection. Now, even if we see that rejection, we can just still pull back. Now, we've got this little range right here between basically 451.75, where we're looking at that 452, and 448. So, you know, we could even just kind of trade in here and go sideways and build up some strength for that move higher, another potentiality if we do not see some selling to push us down for that retest, which is kind of what I am looking for into the start of September. So maybe we do something like this, and then we head back up, but we could also potentially just come down here and head back up. And of course, that other scenario is that we just rip through, right? In which case, we would be waiting for a back test, and then you can initiate some longer term positions maybe into the end of the year, but we'll see. Now let's look at some other areas of confluence where I am seeing that this area may be difficult for the bulls. Let's look here at our bigger picture chart. I'm going to zoom out here. On the 5-year, we've looked at this chart before. Here we are again, and this is, we talked about this, I believe, in the last video, or if it wasn't that one, it was the one before that. But I was talking about this is going to be the real test coming back here. Now we're back testing this bigger multi-year trend line right up here. So another big area we're going to be watching out for. Recapture for this for the bulls would be really the best thing for them to see and to propel us higher into the end of the year. But is it going to be a one-way street like that? Usually isn't that easy, but we'll see, you know, if we do start to get any selling, how much of a retracement we do get. All right, let's look at one other macro chart, and then we'll look at some balance zones and some areas where we want to maybe engage the market tomorrow and kind of go a little bit over today's price action, although not too much happened. So let's go into boom. Okay, weekly candle looking really strong here. All right. Okay, so here we are. Here's another area where, and actually I'll tell you guys what I did today. I was, you know, in those September 430 monthly puts. Obviously he's getting pretty smoked on those. So I de-risked, you know, I wasn't liking the delta on those quite as much. And so I de-risked. I sold about half my position today on that for, I would think it was like a 40, let's see here, 60. It was about a 60% loss on that. I took that other half and I took a starter position in the 440s. A little bit better delta there. So now I'm pretty much at the same size as my original position, just over 2 different strikes. So we'll see what happens with those. But here's another area why I did that today. We're coming into, you know, you already saw it on the other chart that I was looking at, but here, you know, now we have 3 reasons here, these big macro levels. You can see here all the reactions, of course, on this next trend line as well, coming into this big pivot, which we already just went over on the other chart. But you can see here, and let me kind of zoom out, but you can see here reaction. Let me follow it down. Reaction, 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 reaction. And we can go even further back on it, as long as I don't lose my place. Reaction here, 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 here. So these are big levels, you know, so we'll see what happens on this trend line. All right, so the other thing I kind of wanted to pull up really quickly is this chart here, looking at the percent of the S&P companies that are trading over the 50-day simple period moving average. And we are almost there at 50%, but we're not quite there yet. So this is kind of a look under the hood, kind of giving you a broader picture of what's actually going on in the market. And we really want to see, at least for the bull case, we really want to see this back over the 50% line. That's really going to be able to propel us higher. But although we are bouncing here, and you can see now we more certainly are trading back above, but to really have, we want the full market really to participate in this move. So I am also just going to really be watching this this 50% line here, because that's what we are going to want to see to really propel us higher overall. Now the here down, we're going to be looking at the amount of stocks that are trading over the 200 SMA and the SPX. This one's looking a little bit more encouraging. We are above the 50% line here, so that is a little bit better. But we, at least as far as the short term, we're going to be looking at that 50 is a little bit more pertinent. However, I have to mention that this is an encouraging sign for the market. But you can even see on this, when we did sell, we really didn't get that many stocks below the 200. A few, but really not that many. So, this was another kind of decent sign that really we weren't that weak overall when we looked, at the broader market. Not like how we were down here, right, back in May. So, all right, that's just something I wanted to point out really quickly. All right, so let's get back into this chart here. Let's look at some balance levels and what we can potentially expect coming into tomorrow. All right, so today we opened up here. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit. All right, you can see pretty how nicely these areas worked out for us. We can see we were sold down here in the morning, came right into that 448.50 area that we wanted to see hold here at the bottom of this balance zone. And you can see today the choppy price action overall, just trading in this balance. But nice long here at the open. Again, I don't take options off the off the open, but a potential play there definitely available to you, just using the bottom here, this area as a risk for traders. But nice move, opening drive play right into, where did we stop? The top of our balance here, right at the 451.36 area. And that's really where we got stuffed a lot today. As you can see in the price action, we could just barely move over that level, but on this hourly here, forming a bit of a flag, and we have been pushing up a little bit here in the after hours. Pretty much the futures. This is just showing the futures trading, but we are seeing a little bit of the hot reading on the hourly Momo at least. So we'll have to see, but you can also see here that pretty much our half gap was half of the range of today, and a nice entry for longs. If you took the long down here, or even on this dip, could have gotten the long here a little bit later. But right here, that 150, nice area, and that was pretty much the pre-market highs for the day as well. So let's see here. Now, if we open up, still above 451, okay, still bullish on the table, we could then drive up through this gap into our next balance zone. So we'll see if we can trade up into 453, 453.40, 453.72. Then bottom here, the retest, certainly an area where you could potentially consider a short or a look above and fail type trade. But if we do start to break over that, and really confirm over that 454, next half gap is going to take us all the way up to 455, and then potentially this upper area here at the 456s. But for the bears, what they really need to see is breaking back under 450, in my opinion. I think breaking under 451 could be a warning sign, but they're really going to need to get under at least 450 here. Let me just clear my throat. For the potential moves back into the lower part of today's range. But that, if you really, 450 short can work, but if you're going to really look for a real, kind of short trade that might be a bit better, in my opinion, breaking under this balance, coming back, retesting, and then either looking at those at the money puts right at the 450, 458, or just take a look at the delta. Usually all the SPY strikes have good volume, but you could just do the 457s as well. You could see that move potentially back into this part of the balance. So, you'd look for price action to break under, come back up, retest, and then come back down. And by the way, I'm going to look into some software where I can potentially just be drawing right on this automatically. So I think that'll be cool. But anyway, so if in fact we do start to get under 457, then we're going to be looking for that next half gap all the way down here at 456.23, and then into 45 and 50 potentially. No, the other thing, we kind of went over this a little bit in the last video. I am still looking at, where the hell? Well, I just want to see what chart this is. Okay, I don't recall, but I'm getting rid of it. All right, bear with me here 1 second. Oh my God, okay. All right, the one thing I did want to point out, and I think we went over this a little bit, but I'm still watching this kind of interesting volume profile structure. There's a lot, and I don't know when we're going to fill it, but it's something that we want to be cognizant of, this weaker kind of structure here. I'm looking at the hourly, and same thing's going on with ES, but actually let me go to the... There's a lot of imbalances here in the volume profile, and we don't know when they're going to have to, when they're going to work themselves out. But if we do start to see selling, we've got a decent profile here on the hourly as far as the amount of shares traded in this range. But look how thin this structure is down here. So if we start to come and sell and retest, and I don't know again when it's going to potentially happen, but I'm just going to be keeping an eye on these inefficiencies here, and I'm just marking them off really quickly. So if we do start to sell and break, say, below yesterday, or well, I guess now it's yesterday, but Wednesday's lows, watch for potentially these gaps to be filled here at the maybe the 447 45 to 446.75, and then another big one is getting filled all the way down here, and it would take us down back to that back test of that 444 that we were talking about, 444.25 all the way this value area low here at 445.75. So you can see it very clearly, these gaps, and usually you want to see them have a bit more shares traded in there. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go over today. Yeah, we went over our bearish trades. If we broke below here, we'll be looking for that. Okay, then to bring us down to the 444s here, bottom of this balance. And for the upside, I think we went over everything. So yeah, We can bread up. We're gonna get up into the 454, 455, 456. So that's a $6 move. So I don't know if we'll get up that high, but we'll see. I mean, you know, we already had one huge trend day. Will we get another one? I don't know. This week, but we'll see. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I hope you have found this video helpful. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to join me. Remember, make sure you are prepared tomorrow. A prepared trader is a profitable trader. So plan your trade and trade your plan. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.